Good morning, good morning, good morning. How you guys doing? Get your coffee. Come get your sports. We got coffee and sports in the morning. Starting with your host, Coach Dante. You got your boy Mo Better. You got your boy Jay Jones, man. I'm feeling good this morning, fellas. NBA draft is coming up today at 7 o'clock. I'm very excited. How you guys doing this morning, man? How you guys doing this morning?
Feeling blessed, Coach.
Yes, sir. Feeling good, feeling great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So last night, man, want to get right into it. We had a Boston Celtics and the Grizzlies agreed upon a deal. Man, it was highway robbery. I can be honest with you on that one. Get 2 first-round picks for Marcus Smart. Basically, Marcus Smart for between Boston. They get Porzingis, Marcus Smart, gets traded to the Grizzlies. But basically, Brad Stevens got 2 first-round picks. 2 first-round picks, and I don't know how Brad Stevens do it, but I still think Marcus Smart, is going to be a valuable piece to the Memphis Grizzlies. But give me your reactions, to the deal, Mo. Give me your first, initial reactions to the deal.
First, I was just blown away by the fact that they were able to get 2 first-round picks. Whatever deal they brokered, whatever Brad Stevens did, it tells me that the Celtics are going to be active in this draft. I don't think that Celtics are done with their roster construction. So to lose Marcus Smart, which is a big piece because he's a leader and he's recognized as the heart and soul of that team. So, and it's a big get for Memphis, right? Let's agree on this.
Yeah, that's a big get for Memphis, yeah.
And losing Dylan Brooks is one thing, but if you're getting back Marcus Smart, also we know Jaw's going to be gone for 25 games. So to have that kind of leadership, somebody that can steady the ship while he's out, and when he gets back in, to have a Marcus Smart in his ear, that vet, I think that's going to help Memphis beyond, not just this season, but beyond this season. So I don't think Memphis came off bad. They gave up a first-round pick, but they got some much-needed leadership. They also got a productive player, a versatile defender, and a leader in the locker room. So they did well, but when you look at what Boston did, and I just talked about this guy the other day, I think Porzingis had become underrated. You're getting the guy that gave you 23 points, just under 9 rebounds, 49% from the field, just under 40% from 3. He's over 7 feet. He can play the 4 if you want to go really small. And it's not really small considering how tall he is. He's your small ball center. And when you put him in pick and roll situations, he can dive or he can step out. That already is an added asset because he's a threat from deep. So I like what Boston did. I also like the fact that Porzingis, again, with Tatum, with Brown, he's in his proper role as a third option.
Go ahead, Jay.
This trade was a lot. It was a lot happening last night. We saw this was the second deal that was constructed after the Malcolm Brogdon deal fell through. I think it's pros and cons for all size involved, of course. Boston, it was good because they got the 2 first-round picks, and you got a Talon and Porzingis, right? But Porzingis' biggest issue is his health, and I think you lose defense. I think you lose defense. I think they got a tad bit better on offense, um, but defensive wise, they lost Marcus Smart. They look like they're getting ready to lose Grant Williams. Porzingis is not really the best defender. I get it; he's got height, but um, it's just I get it. He can stretch the floor, but I didn't understand why it had to be Porzingis. I just didn't understand why Porzingis. I think you probably could have got Christian Wood. Especially barring Porzingis' health issues. I think last year was the most games he played in his career. Outside of that, it's been less than 50 games. But with that being said, I think Boston most likely. I think they won the trade for the most part. I do like Marcus Smart in Memphis. Especially with Jai out, but I was confused on why Memphis traded Ty Jones. They were very successful with Tyus Jones when Ja was out, and to trade him, I just thought it was kind of like it was weird. I know Marcus Smart is probably gonna take over that point guard spot, but it's just still kind of like Tyus Jones. I mean, that was your guy, but it still works for them.
Exactly.
But it just it works. It's cool. I was a little worried about their size with Ja, Marcus Smart, and Desmond Bain in because Dylan Brooks was 6'7". I think Marcus Smart is 6'4". I mean 6'4". Desmond
About
Bain.
460. Yeah.
So, but I mean, you got the backcourt of Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams. So it kind of worked for the most part. I mean, Marcus Smart is okay. I mean, he's all right. I mean, he's not bad, but I mean, I'm just talking about Tyus Jones they're familiar with Tyus Jones. Marcus Smart is not bad, but Tyus Jones he knows the offense. But I think all sides pretty much equaled out, except for Tyus Jones. He went to Washington, unfortunately, and he's got to deal with the issues over there. But outside of that, he's cool. They I think they all broke even, and I get that Porzingis offensively as well. But like I said, man, his availability is a huge concern. But I think that all sides got pros and cons to it.
I would say this real quick, Coach. Right. So a lot of people are pointing out, can Porzingis stay healthy? We could spend the rest of the show going down the laundry list. Can Bradley Beal stay healthy? Can KD stay healthy? Can Kawhi and Paul George stay healthy? We can go on and on about who can stay healthy. So we can only judge you off your most recent history. Well, off his most recent history, he played more games than all those guys. And he's not being asked to be the focal point in Boston. He's the third option. And I think he's more than a catch and shoot player because he's actually very effective in the restricted area. No, he doesn't have a great low post game, but he shoots a high percentage. You remember the length we're talking about. A lot of people want to bring out the injury stuff, and I understand that, but that applies to so many. Like I said, we could waste the whole show on guys that are injured and wondering if they're going to stay healthy. I think that Boston is looking to win now, and I think by putting Porzingis on the floor is already spaced, but you just space the floor more by having him on the floor. He's not there to score more. He's there so Brown and Tatum can score more.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I also feel defensive wise, he's a liability. And like I said, by them losing Smart and Grant, and you already got issues with Robert Williams staying healthy, that's a huge liability, and that means that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both going to have to play more defensive both ways. And I get it; they're both first team offense. Well, Tatum is first team, Jaylen Brown second team, but now. And you lost your tough guy. He was like their enforcer. Like they lost that toughness, in my opinion. Porzingis is not an enforcer. I mean, you losing Grant and you possibly losing Grant and you losing Smart is so. I mean, Porzingis, yeah, can stretch the floor. He's going to shoot more threes. So if they shot 53s, they're going to shoot 63 threes this year. A lot more. So, like I said, it's pros and cons on both sides. We're going to see how it works out. And we'll see.
It could hurt them, but remember, how many dominant bigs are there in the NBA? 2, maybe. And one of them, he likes to waste most of his time floating out to the 3-point line too, even though he weighs damn near 290 pounds. So if they can get away with putting guards on Embiid in the postseason because he wants to stay out there beyond the elbow, Porzingis is going to be fine. Like I don't expect him to spend a lot of time at center, but there's not a lot of great dominant centers in the NBA. There's two.
That's true.
If he
I
has
just
to go,
don't think
if he has to go up against Karl Anthony Towns, he's gonna be fine. He's a jump shooter too. So you know what I mean? Like I don't. Think
I
he's
just
a
don't
great
think.
defender, but he does
I don't think
have reps.
Porzingis takes them to. I don't think Porzingis takes them to the next level. I think they needed more of a facilitator. I think they needed a point guard more than anything. I think they needed somebody to facilitate and get the ball out of Jason Tatum's hand and Jaylen Brown, because we've seen Jaylen Brown constantly dribble the ball off his foot out of bounds. So I felt they needed more of a point guard more than a stretch four.
Oh, I agree.
For them to succeed, to go to the next level. I don't think Porzingis is that piece, but they got 2 first rounds, which makes them a better. Brogdon is all right, and White is more of a shooter. They need somebody to facilitate, like to get them the ball in their spot.
I don't
think they will have Peyton Pritchard. I think Peyton Pritchard acts out. I think they were willing to let him go, but like I say, I think I'm not concerned at all. I think Boston will find a point guard.
I don't think their roster construction is done.
I think Brad Stevens is going to take care of that point guard situation. That's not my concern right there at all. In Memphis, Marcus Smart, he's not a point guard. He's more of a combo type guard. But I'm just letting people know, don't underestimate that move by Tyus Jones, because that guy kept
a huge piece.
They got kept Memphis afloat with Ja Morant out. With Ja Morant, we kind of kept him afloat a little bit.
Coach, we pointed this out. Marcus Smart's probably a better player, but I don't think he's a better point guard.
And that dude turnover to assist ratio is really good. So I think that's going to be an underrated loss. But like I say, Memphis still going to be good. They're still going to be good to Ja Morant come back. They're going to be fine. So it's no concerns for both teams. And like I say, again, Porzingis' health, that's the only thing. But again, having Brown and Tatum kind of takes a lot of pressure off of them as well. Kind of takes a lot of pressure off. And that dude is an underrated rim protector, man. That dude can rim protect. If you want to get a chance to watch Porzingis, watch his rim protection, dude. That dude rim protection is actually solid enough to keep people up out of the paint. And the Christian Wood that you brought on, I don't know why you brought him up. He's not a great defender at all. And he's not. But he can abide scoring. He can provide scoring. But it's the reason why he wasn't playing in Dallas. It's the reason why he was not playing in Dallas. Actually,
nobody want to play in Dallas.
Yeah, but he can be good in spurts. He can be solid at spurts. But he's not. He's kind of overrated. He's kind of overhyped a little bit. He's kind of overhyped a little bit. Most of that playing with the Houston Rockets, who wasn't really good. So he was basically our best player on the team. So other than that. The Malcolm Brogdon deal didn't fall through. He stays with Boston. Let's talk about the original deal where they had, I believe, Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris came out and immediately said he was frustrated. He was frustrated about he wasn't getting no playing time against the Clippers. And then Porzingis was still going to Boston anyway it goes, but the Clippers were getting Malcolm Brogdon. What happened to that trade? I'm gonna start with you first, Jay.
Apparently there's issues with his there's some optimistic about his elbow injury. A lot of people think that he might get that he might have to get off-season surgery. And a lot of other people I guess they just don't have faith with him. They already got an injury riddled roster. And honestly, I think they're in the process of trying to rebuild. I don't think they want to start their roster off with another injury like riddled guy. You got Paul George and Kawhi over there. They're getting ready to move into the new stadium in a year or two. They're also talking about blowing it up in LA. So, like I said, the injury history, I just think that they didn't want to risk him being there. They just didn't want him there. And I think that was a huge concern, like I said, with the tendonitis, I believe, in his elbow. and I think they just backed out of it.
Mo, what?
Sometimes it's the trades or the moves you don't make.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Clippers are going to blow it up, but I will say this: if they're going to blow it up, you should have blown it up before the draft. You should, if you
Yeah.
can start fresh, get rid of them and start getting some picks. I don't because I don't think there's as big a market for either one of them. As gifted as they are, when we're talking about history and health, their health history not good.
It's bad. There.
I'm a huge Kawhi Leonard fan, but every time the man's on the court, I cringe. I cringe because I feel like here it comes, and it happened in the first round of the playoffs. And I the Clippers are kind of in purgatory because you have the talent to contend, but health is not on your side. And I don't know what you do with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George because I think Kawhi is 31, Paul George is 32. You're kind of stuck. Where are you going to move them, and you're never going to get back equal value for either players. So to me, if you're moving them, I don't think you're moving them for pieces. You might be moving them for picks
For
and expiring
assets.
contracts because you're thinking about the future. So I do think that's on the table. I agree with Jay. I think that trade didn't go through because they backed off. They weren't really comfortable with his injury history, especially with if you think about what they've had to go through with injuries. What they
That's what I'm
didn't want to
saying.
do is add another guy that's going to be sitting and close on the bench.
And plus, I think they're gonna. I think they feel like they can re-sign Russ for the minimum, and I feel like they felt he had a pretty decent year while he was there, and I
I thought
think they
Russ played
rather
well for them.
just yeah, and I think they just feel like it's easier and better for them to just go with Westbrook, rather than trading for Malcolm Brogdon.
Guess what? When it comes to availability, more times than not, Russ is going to be there.
Yeah,
Russ is a
Yeah.
ball player. Like Russ is going to be there.
Yep.
I mean, they was talking about yesterday, I believe they were considering trading Paul George. If the Clip, if it's any time, if you want to go ahead and make up your mind, I think the Clippers kind of stuck in the middle between running it back and blowing it up a little bit. If it's a good time to blow it up, you go ahead and blow it up this year. You just go ahead and blow it. You just go ahead and blow it up. Just go ahead and blow it up. If you don't feel like they're going to be healthy, I don't feel like they're going to be healthy. I don't feel like they're going to be healthy going into this playoff stretch. Kawhi Leonard went down. What was that? The year that the
Game
Phoenix,
2.
I believe, made the playoffs. That was the time. And Coach Tyronn Lue did a hell of a job. First Western Conference Finals for Paul George. Played great in that playoffs, and ever since then, you know, you think you're going to have a great series last year with Kawhi Leonard against Phoenix. He has 230-plus point games, and all of a sudden he goes out with an injury, and a series turns soft. So if it's actually a great time to blow it up, it will be kind of in this offseason. If it's a great time, it'll be a great time to blow it up. If they don't feel like this team is going to have progress, but do you feel at some point, do you feel like they're going to run it back? How confident you feel that they're going to actually run it back, Mo?
I think I'm going to split it down the middle. I don't think they keep them both. I think one of them won't be on the roster this season. And if I had to guess, it would be Paul George. I think they still believe in. Look, I believe in Kawhi Leonard. I just don't believe in his ability to stay healthy. But I believe in Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, is still a top 10 player. His problem is he can't stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I agree with Mo because I think you can get more value for Paul George right now, than you can with Kawhi Leonard. But I do think they're gonna run it back. I think they're gonna run it back because, like I said, they got a new stadium getting ready to open, and I think they want to kind of at least keep it together for that part, for the financial aspect of it.
That's so true. That's a good point.
And I just think that that's really the only reason that they keep it together. They I think they're ready to blow it up, but like we've all kind of alluded to, they're stuck in the middle. They got a new stadium open, and then they got to fill seats. And I do think they were better without one of them. I think they got some young pieces that are very good. And some of them kind of don't get enough playing time
I
because
love
of
Terrence Mann's game. I love
yeah,
Terrence
he's
Mann.
nice, and I think they could be successful without one of the two. And I
Agreed.
mean, we don't see Kawhi play all the time, so um, but I think they run it back for the financial purposes of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he made a great point. They're opening up a new stadium. You got to have a reason for those season ticket holders to show up. So you got to have them names in there so that I think Jay's right. The bigger picture, they can't really afford to let them go right now.
Nah, unless they get a big name back
Bigger
in
name,
return,
sure.
which you probably not gonna get.
Yep. So we
Yeah,
go
Kawhi
back.
has no value.
Go ahead.
No, I was reading Gene's comment.
All right, gotcha. So we shift this back to Memphis and Marcus Smart. How will Marcus Smart fit with Memphis since Ja Morant goes out for 25 games? How big of a loss will Tyus Jones actually be? I'm gonna start with you, Jay.
It's a huge loss. It's a very big loss. He was a big part of the reason why they were successful when Ja was injured in the past. I think a lot of people underestimate him because he's not a big name. We don't see him all the time, and what he does and don't do. Like you said, his assist to turnover ratio is really good. He's gonna
Almost
be a
the best
huge
in the league.
loss.
Yo.
Yeah, and he's gonna be a huge loss. Marcus Smart is gonna be good. I'm not downplaying what he brings because he brings toughness, he brings leadership, he brings everything like that. But Tyus Jones got chemistry with those guys. He knows where those guys want the ball. He knows the coaches and everything like that. But Marcus Smart will fit. He'll fit in there with those guys. I think he'll be able to, he'll be able to keep them afloat until Ja comes back. But it's a good fit. It'll work for him. I'm interested to see when Ja gets back how it's gonna work. Because Marcus Smart I feel like he has to have the ball in his hand, and so does Ja. I don't know which one of them are gonna be the off ball player, but I'm interested to see what it looks like. When those guys are all in the lineup together.
Yep. Go ahead, Mo.
Well, I think automatically he makes your defense better. So now you've got Marcus Smart to go with Jaren Jackson, who was Defensive Player of the Year. So that versatility alone, and both of them can guard multiple positions. He also brings toughness, and I would say this: he brings real toughness. Like he's what people thought Dylan Brooks was, but he's actually that guy. He's that guy. High basketball IQ. I think you do lose something on offense because he's not as fluid at running a team the way Tyus Jones did. He's not. And look, as good as Marcus Smart is, he does have a habit of taking bad shots. He does. He falls in love with taking the three, and he's not a good 3-point shooter. Big picture, does he help Memphis? Absolutely. He's going to hold down that fort. I think his impact is going to be felt even more in terms of leadership. What he does for that young core. And then you bring Ja back, and Ja's got that guy in his ear. That can only make them better. If he can get in their best player's ear and they all buy in because he's been there, he's been to the finals, he's had success, they're going to be scary once Ja comes back. My only concern is how well the offense flows without Tyus Jones.
And that's my point. I see Gene is saying that it's not a loss when you get better at the position. I'm not necessarily saying that it's a loss by them having Marcus Smart. All I'm saying is that, like Mo just said, the offense how's the offense going to flow? We know Marcus Smart brings defense and leadership. We're not questioning his abilities with them, but we can't underestimate what Tyus Jones does either. Yes, Tyus Jones is a role player, but he had chemistry. He runs the point really good. I mean, Marcus Smart he had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and he was mid to me. He was all right. A lot of people wanted to get rid of him in Boston. That's why they did bring in Malcolm Brogdon. When they lost to Golden State, he was talking about being replaced as the point guard. So I'm just saying, on the offensive side, Marcus Smart doesn't bring a lot of the qualities that Tyus Jones brings.
Right.
And obviously Tyus Jones doesn't bring everything that Marcus Smart brings, defensive wise, leadership wise, and toughness wise. So I think it equals out. But I think that, like Mo said, they'll be good. They'll be fine. They'll be afloat. They'll figure it out.
I mean, yeah. Like I say again, he may not be the flashiest name, but he was valuable to Memphis also off of the bench. mean, you may not value him valuable off of the bench. I don't care how many games it was, care how many games it is. We can only see. We can only see how this is going to work.
Right.
But I'm not going to underestimate Tyus Jones' valuableness to the Memphis Grizzlies because he was valuable when Ja Morant was out. They have a far better. They have a winning record without Ja Morant.
And that was mostly because of what Tyus Jones could do as a floor general.
He was 25-2 with Tyus Jones in the lineup without Ja Morant. Right. So he is.
And I know we talk about when Ja was out, but even when Ja was there, he was still super valuable. Like he helped orchestrate a lot of comebacks and he did a lot for Memphis. He was a valuable piece, point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? So
I think he's a starting court. I think he's the best backup point guard, but I think he's a starting quality point guard.
Really? So we'll see. It's interesting. But hey, that's why they play the game, right? We'll see.
No doubt. And everybody listen, or whatever. It's Sports Empire Network, not agree with whatever we say at network. So everybody's entitled to their opinion. Much respect.
And we're just predicting. We're making predictions based off what we've seen in the past and what the numbers and stats and stuff align to. Sports is going sports.
Yeah. So if Porzingis stays healthy, I'm gonna give y'all two. I'm gonna give y'all basically two questions. We know Porzingis can drop 20 points. We know he can drop 20. He's capable of doing that every single night, but he doesn't have to do it in Boston every single night. But if he stays healthy, do y'all think it's a big three ongoing with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and how far you think Boston could go? Could this move the needle for them? We know they potentially can get back to where they were, the Eastern Conference Finals. But Mo, how can this move move the needle for them if Porzingis is right and healthy?
Let's assume you get another 65 games out of him and he goes into the playoffs healthy. Yeah, it's gonna make them, to me, in the bigger picture, you lose something like Jay pointed out, there's pros and cons. But if it's about ultimately can they get back to the finals, I think it's a move that can help them. I'm just looking at their competition in their own conference. Now they beat the Sixers without really a third guy as far as a lead scorer. Brogdon's very productive off the bench, but if you have Porzingis, I think it just stretches the floor more. It makes a guy like Embiid have to come out in space. He don't want to play in space, so it makes things better for Jaylen Brown struggles. Jaylen Brown can beat people one-on-one off the dribble, but he tends to over-dribble in traffic. Well, if you got Porzingis on the floor, there's more spacing, there's less traffic. So I think big picture, this is going to be a better offense. And I also have a lot of faith in Brad Stevens. I don't think the roster construction is done. I think they're going to add more pieces. This is going to be a deeper team. You're going to feel the loss of Marcus Smart, but if Brad Stevens is up to what I think he's up to, you won't feel it that much down the road when they hit the playoffs.
Jay?
I'm gonna respond to Gene's question right quick. I don't know if Memphis is a better team today than what they were yesterday. We got to see them play. So I don't know if they're gonna be good, if they're better yesterday than they. I'm not sure where Memphis is right now with the roster that they have. It's to be determined. As far as Boston with Porzingis, if he gives them what he gave the Wizards. Yeah, they definitely are going to be a threat. That's no doubt about it. I mean, they were at the Eastern Conference Finals with him. But I'm sorry, they were at the Eastern Conference Finals without Porzingis. So yeah, if you get another stretch forward that can stretch the floor, create more space for your star players to do damage, yeah, they have a really good chance to run it back. I guess you can call him a big three to an extent. I mean, when Chris Bosh was in Miami, he wasn't, you know what I'm saying, like what he was in Toronto. He was basically just playing his role.
I agree.
Yeah, he and so if Porzingis just gives them 15 and 10 and he's playing defense, I think that's all they really need. So they can reach that potential. I think they can.
Boy, I love being a part of this goddamn network. We have so much fun. Freddie, agree with you, Jay, right there. Memphis do need shooting. They do need
I
shooting.
think they should get Jordan Clarkson.
Outside of Desmond Bain, Desmond Bain is
offense.
the only prolific 3-point shooter actually that can shoot threes consistently. Desmond Bain is their only really prolific 3-point shooter on the Memphis Grizzlies. So they do need a lot of shooting.
Hey, coach, and remember, when you really look at their roster, how many guys on Memphis, and this is before the trade, how many guys on Memphis could create their own shot? It was one of their weaknesses to begin with.
Ja Morant, I know Ja Morant.
You had Tyus Jones, and Bain could to a degree, but that's not his strength, breaking people down off the dribble.
He's a shooter, and he can drive to the basket.
Right.
He can't create his shot. Ja Morant can create his shot, and Tyus Jones is underrated because when he gets to that basket, that floater is devastating. That floater is devastating.
Right.
When he gets to that basket, he can get to the basket. He can get.
They need to try to, if they can. I don't know what their salary cap is. I'm not looking at stats right now, but if they or payroll, but if they could go after somebody like Jordan Clarkson, somebody who's a known sixth man off the bench, I think that would definitely make them better on paper. Then it would give them a good advantage because
they're in desperate need of more shot creators.
Yeah, they definitely need more shooters. They definitely do.
What's good?
Shooting the basketball.
What's good, dude?
Shooting the basketball.
How you an NBA champion and you late? How you an NBA champion? You can't even wake up.
Hey, I didn't get home from work.
That was a good cleanup.
I didn't get home from work.
Yeah, I don't want us to get canceled.
Yeah, man. Who you what you think about the Memphis and Boston trade? Marcus Smart going to Memphis, and you got Porzingis going to Boston, and also Brad Stevens find a way to get 2 first-round picks up out of the deal.
You gotta give credit to Brad Stevens getting those first round picks. That's huge for them in that organization. You think about Marcus Smart. I thought about it yesterday. That Memphis Grizzly team is young, so you added maturity there. You add a little bit of shooting, but we all know that he's not the defender that he used to be. But the thing that you like about Marcus Smart, he will take a charge for you. You know, he will step in front of that defender and give that extra possession. So I like what all 3 teams did yesterday. I would have loved Tyus Jones to still be on the Memphis Grizzlies just because of that floater and what he gives them. But I got to give credit to the Celtics. It's not a big 3 yet because you guys see how they mesh together. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work unless you have that chemistry and it works together. So I think it's a good trade from all 3 teams yesterday, though. Good trades.
Yeah. So Jay, I'm gonna bring you this first question right here on our next topic. Could Jordan Poole be moved? You know, him and Draymond Green had some issues early on. We already know that. I think that kind of messed it with him throughout the season because his game totally fell off the face of the earth. It was times in the playoffs that he was unusable, unplayable at times. So do you see Jordan Poole playing on the Warriors? And did the Warriors, kind of make a mistake by giving him that contract? Did his head blow up too big? Did he get to the point said, "Hey, I'm the shit. I got the contract"? What happened to Jordan Poole? And do you see him getting moved from Golden State?
I definitely see him getting moved. Especially if Draymond gets, if they find a way to bring him back to Golden State, I definitely see him being moved. I don't think that Jordan Poole got a big head. I think what we saw was Jordan Poole was affected not even by the punch by Draymond Green. He was more affected by what Golden State didn't do to Draymond Green. Draymond Green didn't receive any punishment from hitting Jordan Poole, right? So when you see a player like that can just kind of get away with whatever he wants to get away with, it messes with your head. And then his locker was right next to Draymond Green's all year long. Like, yeah, that's gonna have an effect on you. That's one of the reasons KD left. It wasn't the fact that they had the argument. He said it on Draymond's podcast. I left because the front office didn't handle the situation when you were out of pocket, when you were out of line. So if that drove KD away, imagine how it's gonna do a young man like Jordan Poole. So yes, I think if they want to keep the core together, we already seen them put Kuminga on the block. They kind of mentioned him as being tradable. Yep. Steve Kerr has mentioned how he feels like this team still has something left in the tank with the core members of Golden State, Steph, Draymond, and Clay. So yes, I definitely see Jordan Poole. He definitely can be movable, and you can get value for him. He's young. He's a good shooter. Yes, you didn't see the Jordan Poole this year that you saw last year in the NBA Finals. That's because you got assaulted and it went viral, and the person who assaulted you got away. Draymond suspended himself. Hey, I'm gonna take 3 days away from practice. Golden State didn't do nothing.
They didn't get that man no punishment, no suspension.
Nothing.
They just came out and said they handled the punishment. It was secretly absolutely nothing. They did nothing. They just
nothing.
Stay away for 2 days. That's no punishment at all. No suspension.
And that's the problem in Golden State. It's the core players versus the young players. And a lot of the young players didn't like what they saw and what happened with that situation. So a lot of them they don't want to be there. And you saw Steve Kerr didn't give them much burn in the playoffs or in that series with the Lakers. That's why they got bounced. Part of the reason they got bounced.
Got you. Dez, what you think?
I agree. I agree with him. I agree with you. Like, it's a grown man just smack you down the face. You got to start the season. Your locker's right next to him. He gives himself a 3-day suspension right from the tee from practice. Of course, it's going to affect somebody's confidence. That's like someone saying, "Hey, Dez, you ain't doing a good job," and knock your confidence down. You're a young person, and that's a savvy veteran. Draymond Green, we're talking about, right? NBA champion, defensive player, has all the accolades, and you're Jordan Poole, and he's done some things. But like I said, I'm glad they got rid of the GM because it's kind of more like he said earlier. It's the veterans against the young players, right? It's like the seniors against the freshmen, right? So I think Jordan Poole, if the opportunity is right, and for both sides, then go ahead, go somewhere that you feel appreciated, valued, and someone will hear a voice. That's all some of these players want is a voice and someone to hear them out. You know what I'm saying? So because I know we all didn't see the confident Jordan Poole that was hitting mid ranges and threes like Steph Curry and looking at the ladies when he knocked down a dang three. You know what I'm saying? So if it's possible tonight, we'll see. Because this draft, like we all talked about already on this network, this draft will be a lot of moves. We already seen it yesterday. We already seen it this past week. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved tonight. So we'll see.
I won't be surprised if anybody get moved tonight. This is the time of the year. We think something happened yesterday. It was good yesterday to see some moves on. Tonight, you already know every year in the draft, it's a move happen, but this is the best time of the year for NBA. For agency, moves are going to be made and some heads are going to start rolling from each team. So, Mo, what you think about this situation?
I think Jay and Des pointed out what's the obvious. I would say this, though. Look at the timeline that Steph, Draymond, Clay, and Steve Kerr are on. They had won titles. They're champions, and everything is about winning more titles. So when you bring in Wiseman, when you bring in Kuminga, Jordan Poole, Moody, and all like that, there is going to be a split because they don't have time for you to develop. What they want is instant dividends. So if they don't see impact, consistency, I think there's a divide. They don't have time to wait for guys. They don't have when you're in your 30s, you don't have 2 or 3 years for guys to develop. It's very much like Dame said. So I actually think that's a factual thing. I don't think it's right that Draymond wasn't punished, but I'm not surprised. They've kind of let that core pretty much do what they want to do. And if you're a young guy coming in there, you're thinking, I'll develop, I'll learn under them. They're looking at you in that organization because everything's about right now. They need you to be ready right now. Wiseman was not on that timeline. He just wasn't. Even if when you saw him play, he just wasn't ready for that. That doesn't mean he's not going to be a good player. They just didn't have the time for him to develop. I think Kuminga is such an electric talent, such a freakish athlete. Every time they think about moving them, when they have a real good discussion and look at him again, I think they know better. They know better. Jordan Poole, I think, will get moved. I think he's got to get moved. I thought he sulked basically all of last year because he felt like nobody had his back. Exactly. You know what I mean? Steph rode with Draymond. Clay rode with Draymond. And, of course, Steve Kerr, that's his crew. So I felt like Jordan Poole felt like he was on an island, and I think that affected him mentally throughout the season. Him moving on is good for him, and it's good for the Golden State because he has great value. They can get back somebody that can go right into the rotation, and he can go somewhere where he can pick up his career and he can shine. I still think Jordan Poole hasn't played his best basketball yet. So I think a move is best for both parties.
I think also Bob Myers, he brought in the replacements for Clay and Draymond. They didn't want they and when I say they, Steve Kerr really didn't want to play them because, like you just said, Steph, Draymond, Clay, those are his guys. We can all probably agree that Clay is not the same Clay before he popped his ACL in Toronto in that series. He's not the same Clay. So you not only you got to deal with Clay feel like you're taking his spot, then you got this situation with Draymond, and then you got to worry about the coach giving you minutes. James Wiseman would have worked in Golden State,
Yep.
but they wanted to reduce his role to just being like a JaVale McGee kind of player when he can shoot. Like if you would have put James Wiseman in that pick and roll situation with Steph, Clay, Jordan Poole, I'm sure he would have been effective in that role. But like I said, it's the core versus the youngins, man, and it's a lot of the youngins they want out. They don't want to be there, and it shows how they get used. And you can't develop if you're never on the court.
Yep. And that's what the Warriors were doing. You can't develop if a person getting sent back and forth to the G League. And that man, James Wiseman confidence was kind of broken. Next minute, I'm up here I'm in the NBA playing. Next minute, I'm in the G League developing my game and trying to get some playing time. I like the Detroit Pistons. He's on the Detroit Pistons. And he actually got better with the Detroit Pistons. He actually got better. But that's a perfect fit for him because guess what? He's with a young core.
And they're on a different timeline.
Monty Williams developed players. He developed players really, really well. I mean, before Chris Paul got on Phoenix, look what he did to Phoenix. Phoenix was in the bubble. They went undefeated. They were undefeated with the young, Mikal Bridges, with a young Devin Booker. They were undefeated a lot. With DeAndre Ayton playing at his best, they were actually undefeated. So at the end of the day, Golden State, they trying to maximize this window the best way they can with Clay, Draymond, and Steph. And like I say, any young player that comes in there that ain't ready, they're not going to hesitate to get you up out of there. And James Wiseman, they just didn't have the time. They just didn't have the time to develop him. They sent him back and forth to the G League. The man don't know when he's gonna play, when he's gonna come go back to the G League. He don't know when he's gonna play. That's just too much going on. And look what he did in Detroit. He actually got better in Detroit. That's actually a huge thing, man. That's actually a huge thing to these young guys, and stuff like that. So I'm actually happy for James Wiseman going on down and getting better for a number 1 overall pick.
Coach, look at the league, though. Look at the league. Look at the last 3 teams that won titles. They're veteran teams. So the perception has always been the NBA is a young man's league. It is in the regular season, but most teams that win titles, they're veteran teams.
Yep.
Milwaukee's a veteran team. Golden State winning the year before was a veteran team. Yep. Denver is different. They're a veteran team, but they're all literally hitting their primes. They're in their mid-20s, and that's unique.
Yeah.
Most of these teams trying to contend, unless you're one of those guys that can step right into the league and instantly put up numbers, it's a struggle for a young player to get put on a title contender because of the expectations. And like you guys said, when you're a young player on a title contender and you got veterans that are not waiting for you, coaches are more than likely, what do? They give you a quick hook, right? One mistake, quick hook. Not really giving you the playing time because look, the best way to learn is on the job. You got to get playing time to learn and get out there. Yep. And these coaches, we can even talk about, we can extend this out. Look at the Knicks. Every time Obi Toppin is on the floor, he makes one mistake, he get a hook. He gets no playing time. I mean, that's the harsh reality of when you're a young, talented, up-and-coming player and you're on a team with high expectations, unless you're somebody like Big Vic tonight, or guys like that are expected to jump right in and drop numbers. Yeah. Plus, he's on a team that is a bottom dweller. It's a big difference. If he came into the league and he went to the Sixers, he's expected to lead them to a title, right? Instantly.
He's expected to play right away. He will be playing right away. Expected to be playing right away.
I think you would play right away. You don't draft somebody right, and you want impact immediately. When you're a guy like Moody, Kuminga, and stuff like that, and you're on the Warriors, Steve Kerr's giving you a quick hook. He's giving you a quick hook. I don't think that's fair. I'm with you guys 100% on that. But I think that's the harsh reality when you have veterans that are on a different timeline from your younger players.
And James Wiseman was a high draft pick too. I believe he was about number 1,
2 or 3,
2 or 3. So he
Two or three. Yeah.
He was expected to come in and make an immediate impact at that
I
point.
thought he was. I thought what I saw in Memphis and what I saw with Golden State, I was like, "Ooh, they're gonna be nice."
I saw the same thing, and it's because he only did it for a small sample size in Memphis before he took off, and he started doing the workout. But the dude looked legit at Memphis. But when you're a number 3, number 4, overall pick, or even number 2 or number 1, anywhere in the top 4, you expected to come in and make an immediate impact. And just to go to State Warriors, the man didn't get a lot of burn. He didn't get a lot of burn. He was in and out from the team in the G League. That gets to a young player, and that's not really letting a young player fight through his mistakes and not let him grow in and mature into what he could be. Instead, they shipped him to Detroit, and that was probably the best thing for him because, again, he got better over there with that young core with Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham over there. Now you got a coach in Monty Williams. He knows he's coaching a young team. He's going to sit there. He's going to let guys develop, and he's going to let guys work through their mistakes. And, some of these veteran coaches in this league, hey, they don't got time to wait, especially like Golden State when you're trying to maximize that window and go for one more. Yeah. They don't even got time to wait for you. They don't got that type of time. So I'm just happy. I'm happy for James Wiseman.
I'm happy for James Wiseman. And look, we talked about this before. Everything Golden State does right now is all about maxing out Steph's prime.
Correct.
It's like they don't care about the future. They will mortgage the future if they think they can get another title out of it.
They already said in their drafting, they want guys that are pro ready now. They're not trying to wait anymore. I think they already said it publicly. They ain't trying to wait anymore. So
yeah,
sure. I think Steph's got what 3 more years. I think he signed a 4-year extension. So
Yep. So we had an interesting thing happen in Detroit. Y'all saw the helmets from
those
yesterday?
Helmets are boo-boo. They look like
Jay, what you think about the Detroit Lions new helmets?
Listen, man, I don't think the helmets are as bad. I think the helmets paired with that uniform makes it worse than what it is. I think that they could get away with the helmet, but I just don't think it's paired right with that all gray uniform. So if they could switch the uniform around, you might be able to get away with it. But the uniform is, I don't like the all gray uniform, period. But hey, that's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah, Des.
I gotta take a deep breath on this one because Jay, hey, you're right, man. The Bears, man. Like I'm a Bronco fan. I'm scared of what the new uniform we're gonna get because it's all white something. I don't even know what it's gonna look like. But the uniform, if they put the helmet at least gray with that logo and stuff, that might look nice. And Madden, that looks nice when you have that. But it just looked like a USFL like helmet to me. It looked like a
I was gonna say Canadian Football League, but yeah,
exactly something. I'm like, what is it? All that time, all that. Think about all the meetings they did, and look at this and that. Honestly, if they put the gray with that and put the old school logo and match with that uniform, now we're talking. But I mean, we already know what helmet you're gonna wear now in the alternative uniform. So it's just. Detroit, I just want a little bit more swagger, man. Get that Detroit swagger back because Detroit hasn't had anything in a while, man. You think about their basketball team, their football team ain't done nothing. Just get some swagger, but I'm kind of disappointed, especially with the design person too. Come on now, you had all summer.
Detroit got to get an all black jersey, just all black jersey.
Something.
You can't go wrong with all black jersey.
Can't go wrong.
That would cover up a lot of mistakes. Yeah, that would cover up a lot.
Get the swagger back. So I'm just disappointed. I give it a straight up F. Looks like a USFL. And they got trolled in Twitter yesterday. They got trolled. That's embarrassing as an organization.
It looked like a helmet that you would create on Madden for a team that you want to create your own team. That's what it looked like. It looked like somebody said, I'm going to create my own team fresh with a logo. It isn't bad, but there's something very generic looking about it.
Yeah, I seen somebody said it looks like like the old Greyhound bus.
It does.
It does, though.
Oh my goodness, man! What's good, my boy? E? What's good? So we got another interesting topic, Mo. I'm gonna start with you this time at the top. Who can knock? We're gonna go through the AFC because again, we're gonna go through the AFC. We're not gonna do the NFC because in the Super Bowl, NFC versus AFC. So we're gonna start with the AFC. We're gonna go with the AFC teams. AFC teams. Who gets the best chance? Who has the best chance of beating Kansas City and stopping their reign in the AFC? I'll only do the AFC because NFC, you don't play into the Super Bowl basically, but the AFC side, who has the best chance of knocking off the Chiefs?
I'm going with the Bengals. I like Joe Burrow has the cockiness, the confidence, the playmaking. He's the guy that can match Patrick Mahomes play for play. Now he didn't have the legs, but Joe Burrow is that guy. Then you throw in arguably the best tandem at wide receiver. They don't feature the run game, but when they do, Joe Mixon's a 1,200 yard running back who can also get you another 500 out the backfield. Their defense is improved. They added to that offensive line, but which is obviously the weakness of the team. But I'm going to go with the Bengals. I just don't think – I think Joe Burrow's that guy. I think Joe Burrow gives it, we're not doing NFC, just AFC. I'm going to go with the Bengals to be the team that knocked them off. I don't have as much faith in Buffalo as other people do.
I don't either. Go ahead, Jay.
Okay. Of course I like the Bengals too, but I'm gonna throw a wild card team out here. It's a huge if. If Miami can keep Tua up for a majority of the season,
I agree.
I like
Not bad.
Miami, especially when they get Dalvin Cook. Yes,
everybody keeps saying that. I'm with you 100%, Jay. If they get Dalvin Cook, that will be Tua's best friend.
Yes, I think they will be a wild card team that could give Kansas City some challenge. I think they got better defensive wise. I know a lot of people make fun of Jalen Ramsey because his got burned in the Super Bowl a few times or whatever the case. He may not be the prime Jalen Ramsey that we've seen in Jacksonville, but Jalen Ramsey is still a solid enough corner to make a difference in that secondary. Then you got, I think he's got Xavier Jones on the other side, if I'm not mistaken.
Xavier Howard.
Yeah, Xavier Howard. I'm sorry. And then he just got some. They just got a few defensive pieces on that front line to be able to rush the quarterback, because I know that was a big thing for them last year. They actually got the young man Jalen Phillips from Denver. I think that's his name. So. I think Miami is a wild card team, but again, it's all based on how healthy they can keep Tua. If they can keep Tua healthy, that's gonna be a tough line.
That might be the key to the whole AFC. If Tua's upright going into the postseason, they're gonna be a problem.
That's why they got to get Dalvin Cook.
They got a stud safety too in Hollins too. They got Holland safety. That dude nice. Go ahead, Des. Who has the best opportunity in the AFC?
Don't say the Broncos.
Oh, I'm not. No, I'm not. Being realistic, guys. Being realistic. I mean, you guys both you, Mo and Jay, you both put good teams there. I like the Bengals. I like Miami. I could probably see Buffalo. I can see Buffalo taking it this year. I really think Josh Allen. I don't believe in the Madden curse. I just feel like he all he needs to do is win a Super Bowl, and I feel that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City are always right there with Buffalo. Like they always play each other. And I feel that this year with Stephon Diggs and that whole situation, and
Javon Holland, that's his name. Yep.
There we go. Yeah, Javon Holland. Plus Miami, you got they got the guy from Denver too. God damn it, what's his name? He played with Von Miller. I'll get to it, but I just feel like Buffalo will at least knock them off. I think they're going to compete for it. I think this is the year that Buffalo does it. If not, they don't have a window that much. So I think Buffalo's going to do it. So
you don't see the Madden curse. You don't see the Madden curse happening already. It's already happening. You already witnessing it. It started already.
I was going to say the Jets, but the Jets. I don't like the Jets because they got the offensive coordinator that was my Broncos coach, and Aaron Rodgers is gonna be more on his back than throwing touchdowns. So.
Hey, who says he may be different at the offensive coordinator? He may be different at the offensive coordinator position. I don't just think he's good as a head coach. He may be different as an offensive coordinator.
But some guys are better as coordinators.
No.
Yeah. I think he's a good coordinator, but I just don't trust Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs.
Exactly. He chokes in the playoffs, and I think the guy that Denver. I was trying to figure out who Miami got with Denver. It was a trade. with the
Bradley
defense.
Chubb? Was it Bradley Chubb?
You got
Chubb,
Bradley
yep.
Chubb there
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I give credit to Miami with those trades and those moves and getting Jalen Ramsey. That could be that's my second pick right there because you think about it, the secondary. That secondary now is nice. That is
Yeah,
scary.
that's a hell
And
of
we
a
all know that we all know about Patrick Mahomes too. The reason why I say Miami number 2 because we all know how to defend Patrick Mahomes a little bit. He'll stare down the number 1 receiver. If he doesn't have that option, he kind of gets a little phased out a little bit. That's why he makes those little side throws, try to make the small dunk, RPOs, stuff like that. Their running game. But I think those two teams, Buffalo or Miami, defensively, they're starting to figure it out. So, and when you see the games when they play,
don't forget the man just won the Super Bowl with no number one receiver. Like he had like a bunch of threes. He didn't have no number 1 receiver.
Exactly.
And a messed up ankle.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. A messed up ankle. So
he's a bad man.
But if it's an NFC team, I want Philly to take it all this year. Philly has to take it all this year. Philly has to.
Yeah, we only did AFC, but if you said overall, I actually would have went back to the well. I would have said Philly would be the team.
Yeah. The only reason I said AFC because that's what basically they're gonna be competing with more AFC. It makes it
And if my Titans get D-Hop, watch out. Watch out. Watch out. When we get D-Hop, watch out.
Don't do it, D-Hop. Don't do it. Don't you do it.
Come on to Nashville, D-Hop. Come on, baby.
No.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we got worst team it doesn't matter. You can give me any team. Can go who lightly can go from worst to first. Jay, I'm gonna start this with you.
Ooh. I got 2 teams. One of them Des just mentioned. I got Buffalo. I don't think they'll be the worst, but I definitely think they'll be at least third in the division. Again, I think the Madden curse is real. I think we're watching it. I think Stephon Diggs is they're saying he's not happy with his role. So the way I see it is they're gonna overfeed Stephon Diggs, and it's gonna be problematic. I think it's gonna be problematic. I think Josh Allen, I think he's gonna force things a little bit more. They still don't have a solidified running game. They lost Singletary. I know they got James Cook, but I think they might have that. They might be going from first place winner to down to third. And I think Jacksonville. I know Jacksonville. They get a lot of high praise. They're the favorites going into this this season, but that's because they had a poo-poo schedule last year. That schedule look a little different this year, man.
Coach, you pointed that out.
Hey, Jay, I told him the Jaguars is not hard to beat. They're not,
man.
That good as everybody thinks they're gonna beat. They're not really that. They're not all that.
And they get I get it. They get Calvin Ridley back, but if you look at Jacksonville's schedule, like right after like week 7, 8, that it's treacherous, man. It's tough, and they might prove me wrong. I hope they don't, but I think that they might take that fall from 1 to maybe 3.
So give me a team who can go from the worst team, like the bottom of the division, any team in NFC, AFC that was at the bottom of the division last year that can move up into first place or even get into a playoff spot.
Cleveland.
Okay.
I think Cleveland and I think Carolina.
All right.
I'm sorry. I think Cleveland, Carolina, and Chicago.
Gotcha. Des?
I say the team that's going to go from, you said from worst to first?
Yeah, like worst to all the way to first or to a playoff spot, to any playoff spot.
I'll do how Jay did his. So I think the team that's going to take a step back. I think it's because of just their schedule and just how they kind of did this offseason. We already know it. They were down in the bottom last year, Arizona. They ain't making no moves with the Raiders. That's a huge step back, in my opinion. You really did not solidify that quarterback position. You got people that are unhappy already. I say the team that's going to make a skyrocket. I said this before, I think in like 2 episodes before, the Falcons. I think they got some pieces. They got some dogs. And like I said, hey, we're going to remember this.
No, I'm not. I'm actually with you.
That was with you because I know it's facial respect.
Because, like I said, I think I said 2 episodes before, their schedule. I think they have the second easiest schedule. I believe they have the second easiest schedule, the strength of schedule. So, their first 3 games are at home, what they did this offseason in the linebacker core, the corner, they basically solidified every other position. The only question that's on position in question is the quarterback because of the experience and kind of how it's not really like solidified in my opinion. You have Desmond Ridder that's still kind of young, but he is taking command of this team in the last 4 games of the season. He did that. So I see them at least making a wild card, surprising some teams in the NFC because the NFC is not as strong as it used to be. You know what I'm saying? So, and you have teams taking a step back like Seattle because I don't think Geno Smith is going to do what he did last year. I don't think that's going to happen at all. So I say Atlanta's going to be my sleeper team coming up, making some moves.
Mo?
So I'm just going to piggyback off of Des. I had Atlanta. To me, Desmond Ridder only has to be a really effective game manager because with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, they have nice skill positions. They have impactful skill positions, and they did add a lot to that defense. So I really think they don't need Desmond Ridder to put up monster numbers. They just need to make sure he doesn't lose games for them. I got Atlanta surprising a lot of people this season.
Okay. I got 2 surprise picks that I think can easily go from worst to first, or even make a playoff spots. And like I said, it's not going to pain me to say this because, like I said, I respect everybody. I respect every team, including my own damn division. Normally AFC South, they have love, they have hate relationships. I don't have that. I'm the only few people that don't have that. So, like I say, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans and Indianapolis Colts because our division is so bad. And it only took Jaguars 9 wins to win the division. And I will say my Houston Texans, but I'm not a homer. I just got to see it. We won. We were 3-2 in the division. We should have been 4-2. We actually almost gave up that first game against Indianapolis, the first game of the season. We actually should have won. So we was 4-2. We was 3-2. That was all wins in the division basically. But Tennessee, I think their defense is pretty solid. Their defense is pretty solid. That's what kept them in the game all year.
Come on,
now, Brian Tannehill can stay healthy and just manage the game and don't turn the ball over. You can just turn around and get a ball to Derrick Henry all day. No matter, you can stack the box. That's how much respect I got for Derrick Henry. You stack the box. It's hard to stop the dude, and it's going to open up a lot of plays. Plus, their defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. Indianapolis Colts, same thing. Good defense. Anthony Richardson can be turnover prone. You got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, and they probably got one of the top. They got an underrated receiving core too. They got an underrated receiving core. Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr. Those two good wideouts, and they got a tight end. They got a very good tight. They got a very good tight end as well. So I think that those 2 teams right there can go from worst to first because our division is so bad. But they also can shot. The schedule is really not that hard because the schedule is really not that hard at all. So they can win. Both of them teams can win a couple of games. Can win some games.
We getting there.
Outside of the division, in the division, it's not going to be hard to beat the other team. Outside of the division, it's just what we all do. It's just what we all can do outside of the division. That's going to only be the problem. Who will win the most games outside of the division instead of in the division? So
I like those picks, Coach. Yeah. The only thing, my only concern with Indy is, did they shore up that offensive line? Because last year, it was one of the worst in the league. Like every time Jonathan Taylor touched the ball, he was getting hit in the backfield. So if they shored up that offensive line, even with a rookie quarterback, Jonathan Taylor is one of the best 5 running backs in football.
Mm-hmm. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be a lot better. One, it's contract year. So he's going to be way better than what he is. And I think Anthony Richardson is going to help with that. They had Matt Ryan at quarterback, and he's a statue. So like he did nothing to help Jonathan Taylor, and the offensive line fell off. But I think they'll be good. I don't think they definitely won't be as bad as they were last year. They kind of got the coach solidified. They don't have Jeff Saturday and all that nonsense. So I call them baby Tennessee because they built just like us. So
they
little baby bros down there in Indy.
And I think
I like their coach.
I think Anthony Richards is going to help him out too because he's going to be an extension of the run game too. His dude is athletic and it's going to
be quarterback too. He can run.
It's going to make it even more tougher to stop Jonathan Taylor because you don't know if he's going to hand it to Jonathan Taylor or keep it. That can wear some teams down. So I got one more thing before we end up getting up out of here. So which playoff teams last year that were actually in the playoffs that you could see not making it this year. We all remember who was in the playoffs. The Giants were in the playoffs. The Giants were in the playoffs. The Eagles were in the playoffs. The Cowboys
Giants ain't making the playoffs.
yeah, they got
They're
his
not making the playoffs.
The 49ers on the NFC side. You had the Minnesota Vikings on the NFC side. Who else you had on the NFC side? The Seattle Seahawks on the NFC side. For the AFC side, you had we already know the Chiefs gonna make it. We don't count them out. We don't count the Eagles out. We know they're gonna make it. We know they're gonna make it. We know the 49ers gonna make the playoffs. You got the Bengals, Bills, Chargers on the AFC side. You had the Dolphins on the AFC side. You had the Jaguars on the AFC side. Which out of all of those teams that can fall up out of the playoff hunt that you say that won't make the playoffs? Mo, I'm gonna start with you. If you had to choose.
I'm going back and forth between the Chargers and the Jaguars. You know what? Because of what division they're in, I'm going to say the Chargers don't make the playoffs.
Okay. All right. Des, which one of those teams out of NFC? Give me an NFC and an AFC. Mo, give me an NFC. Give me an NFC team.
An NFC. Oh yeah, the Giants. They're not making the playoffs.
All right, Des, go ahead.
We talked about this, I think, the previous episode with the Giants yesterday, I believe. They kept on winning close games in the fourth quarter and scraping by. They're not going to do that this year. This is going to be a tough division. The Cowboys will be a lot more competitive. I don't think the Giants at all. Daniel Jones, they should give that man no damn big-ass contract like that. Excuse my French, but you shouldn't give him that contract like that. He's going to mess you up. And in the AFC, I got to say the Chargers. Look at the division they're in. You're going against the Broncos. You're going against the Chiefs. You're going against the Raiders, which aren't really competition. Team no-show, I call them. And Justin Herbert, I mean, he got the weapons, but they always fall short. The dang coach should have been fired. He's supposed to be a defensive guru, and offense is just running them up on the score. So I say the Giants and the Chargers, you're not going to the playoffs this year. It's going to be a different teams.
All right, Jay.
I'm gonna go differently. I understand the Giants. I'm with y'all on that, but I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. They made the playoffs last year.
They did. They
so
showed.
I'm gonna scratch Tampa Bay and the Giants out. Especially I think we're about to see Saquon hold out. We know how that bodes well. When star running backs hold out, it normally messes up the team chemistry, and they don't have any playmakers outside of Evan Ingram. I think Sterling Sharp is coming off of a injury, ACL or some type of injury. So I kind of don't have them making it back to the playoffs. I actually got the Chargers going back. I think Kellen Moore, what he's going to bring to that offensive side, I think they're going to be all right. I think they'll get a wild card. I don't think they'll win it. Obviously, don't think they'll win the division.
Yeah, I want you on that.
Going back to, I know Jacksonville fans, they gonna kill me, man.
If
they make it and they in Tennessee bomb like they did last year, they gonna get me. But I just don't see Jacksonville. I spoke about it earlier, man. That schedule is harsh, man. They got that number one divisional that schedule, so it's gonna be tough for them, I think, to get back to the playoffs and repeat that magic that they had last year. So I got the Jaguars, Buccaneers, and Giants not making it.
Yeah, and this dude right here, he my closest friend. He's a Jaguar fan. He'll tell you about it himself. His team ain't that good. He'll even tell you about that part. But other than that, I got Minnesota. I thought they were fraudulent last year. They were very fraudulent last year. They won a lot of close games. They should have lost against Indianapolis. That must be the worst blown game that I ever seen in my entire life. Right there, that just actually showed you how really bad they really was. Actually, they should have lost that game.
Lost to Buffalo.
Against the Bills, they should have lost that one into Josh Allen. Josh Allen threw that damn interception to Patrick Peterson. They should have lost that one. So they should have lost a lot of games. So the Vikings were fraudulent. Then they end up getting knocked out of the playoffs by the New York Giants. But teams that they did play, they got beat down. It wasn't even close to teams that they played and got beat by the Cowboys, the Eagles. When they matched up against a team, that elite team, with Cowboys ain't no damn elite team. We ain't calling them an elite, but they were better than the Vikings. They were much better than the Vikings. So other than that, I'm gonna pick the Vikings. We know Tampa Bay ain't making it. They have a quarterback issue. Jacksonville, I think every year's a divisional change. It's a divisional change in the AFC South. So every year, sometime my Texans may win it. His Titans can win it. I think the division's still open. I think the division's still open for any one of us to take the division. So I would say them. And if I had to go somewhere else, I'm gonna say the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
Baltimore
good
Ravens.
one.
I do
That's
not
a good
make
one,
the
too.
wild card. I do actually
That's a good one,
man.
wild card.
My man Lamar, let's get busy, Lamar. Come on, Lamar.
I do got him actually going to making a wild card though. I do got him
Let's
actually
get busy.
wild card, but if I had to pick them, I had to pick them. And we already know the Denver Broncos ain't going nowhere. I'm just playing this.
What? Stop it, y'all. They're gonna make it to the playoffs. Take
So,
their
Let's
place.
ride.
Russell Wilson doing videos of him doing hot yoga and all this other stuff, man. Come on, man.
all right, so this is the last one though. So give me two. With Arizona, to me, they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. But give me two more worst that y'all. If you had to predict, give me your top three worst teams in the NFL.
Top three
Start with
worst.
you, Mo. If you had to predict.
All right, so I think the Giants are gonna be really bad. I do. And let me be fair. I'm a big Saquon Barkley fan, but I think that even with Saquon, they weren't going to be that good because I just don't think Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. I think he's just a guy. So I think they're going to be bad. I think Denver will be improved, but if the goal when you have Sean Payton is to win, I don't think they're going to the playoffs. I don't think Denver's going to be very good. I'm just going big picture. They're not going to be very good. I think Houston will be improved. I don't think they're going to be bad. I can't include Houston because I actually think Houston is going to be improved. And because of the timeline they're on, if they win 6 or 7 games, you can't call that bad.
No, that's a major improvement. Trust me.
You can't call that bad.
That's a huge improvement.
A third team, you know what? I'm going to say Minnesota takes a big drop. I think they fall back. I think they take a big drop.
All right, Jay, I'm gonna go ahead.
I'm gonna go Los Angeles Rams. I think they're gonna be bad. We don't know what Matthew Stafford's gonna look like. They lost a lot of pieces defensive wise. They just got Cooper Kupp, so I'm not quite sure what they're gonna look like. Vegas. I think Vegas is gonna be bad as well. That quarterback situation is a debacle. And let me see, man.
Vegas is a good one.
I want to say Denver, but I think there'll be a little bit more of an. I think there'll be a little bit more improved with Sean Payton, but man, I think the Giants, man. Damn it, man. I think that they're gonna be. It's gonna be tough for them. It's gonna be really tough for them to replicate what happened last year with everything that's going on now. So
I think that's my big thing with them, Coach. They were like the cardiac kids last year. They won a lot of games that they could have easily lost.
They beat my squad by a missed field goal.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it too.
Yeah.
I think Tampa Bay. I hate to see it for Todd Bowles. I think Tampa Bay is gonna be pretty bad.
All right, Dez, go ahead and defend yourself, Dez. You know you want to defend.
My Broncos are going to improve, man. They're going to improve. We'll see. But they ain't going to be the worst. Jay, Mo, Coach, the Buccaneers #1, man. Tab Bowles. It's sad that it's going to be a coaching firing. He's going to be on the hot seat because you got quarterback situation not solidified. Baker Mayfield throwing medicine balls. He can't even throw the ball to his dang wide receivers during OTAs. That's sad. And there's no defenders on him. He just overthrowing them. Arizona, that quarterback situation with Kyle Murray and the injury and that whole front office, they got some new pieces, but you look about it, they try to get rid of D-Hop. Buddha's not happy over there. It's just not a good culture. And then I think my third team, Green Bay. Green Bay is going to take a huge step back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How did I miss Green Bay?
Yeah, I missed that
I
too.
Green
That's
Bay.
huge.
I was
Yeah,
like, y'all didn't
I'm
get
a
Green
scratch. I'm a scratch
Bay.
Tampa and the Giants, man. I'm gonna put Green Bay right there.
Yeah,
Green
Thank
Bay.
you,
I
Dad.
think I want to scratch Minnesota for Green Bay.
Yeah,
Like now, look at that. Don't even get no prime times game for them because they're gonna be terrible. And then we already know about the not the Las Vegas Raiders. That whole Jimmy Garoppolo foot injury. If I'm a dang player, I'll be upset too because how the heck you got a dang foot injury and you saying I'm your starting quarterback? You might not be ready for the dang season. And they might have Carson Wentz as their starting quarterback. And we already know how that goes. He goes to a different team, and makes a different excuse. That's the one quarterback I do not like in the NFL that is overrated because he makes a lot of money and goes to different teams. You see what he did with the Colts. You see what he did with all the other teams. Terrible. So, but I got to put the Raiders number 4 on my list because they ain't gonna do nothing this year.
Well, I think Tampa Bay is going to be really bad. They're going to be at the bottom of their division, NFC South. That division is not really that good. But if you can't throw the ball, if you can't throw a ball to a wide open receivers and OTAs from Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield, that's a hell of a lot. That's a hell of that ain't good. If you can't throw a wide open pass to a wide receiver in OTAs, that's really bad. That's really bad. So I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers. I think they're gonna have one of the worst records in the league. I think they're gonna have a top pick next year. The Cardinals, I damn sure think they're gonna be one of the worst. They're gonna without Kyler Murray, you might well don't even play him. Don't even play him none of this season because I think they're gonna be already out of playoff contention by the time he come back. You might well just get another year. And I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now. Jonathan Gannon would just coach one season. In Arizona. I think this season they will move on from him, but I think they're gonna have one of the worst records in the NFL.
they are. They definitely are.
The Raiders, I will go for I will go to Raiders. They're gonna have one of the worst records in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo had time to get surgery on that foot. You knew you weren't playing for San Francisco anymore. You knew you was gonna be out. That would have been a great time to go ahead and get surgery where you could be ready at this point of time. But Devontae Adams, I think he's gonna be asking out soon after this year. Don't be surprised if Josh McDaniels. Don't be surprised.
I'm going to Tennessee. Don't want to go to
He want
Tennessee.
all the receivers in Tennessee.
I want them all. Come on.
You got Derrick Henry. You got one already.
Nah, that ain't enough.
He said that ain't enough, huh? He said Traylon Burks, all right. He ain't enough though, huh?
Yeah, we need more. We need more.
Yeah, but that ain't gonna get it. I think Josh McDaniel may be on the hot seat after this year. I think he may be on the hot seat, and it's just safe to say, Green Bay. We don't know what Jordan Love is. If Jordan Love was any ounce of good, they would have put him out there been put him out there already. Green Bay, they lost Adrian Amos on the defensive side. That's going to be a huge loss at the safety position as well. They receiving core is thin. You got Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson. I don't think that's good enough. I don't think that's really too good enough. Two good young wide receivers, but they're going to have a downfall this year. So I think all those teams that we just really named are going to be some of the worst teams in the NFL. So
I predict that Aaron Jones catches 90. He has 90 catches this season because all Jordan Love is going to do is dink and dunk.
Go ahead,
draft well. I think draft well. That's surprising me. They didn't even draft well with all the capital they got from the trade. They didn't even draft well. That's surprising. That's a bad organization. If you cannot draft well after you capitalize on trading Aaron Rodgers, that was sad right there.
I think I'm kind of on the fence with Tampa. I think Tampa is not going to be as bad as we think, and I think Baker Mayfield is going to be better than what we expect. I'm looking at what he did when he went to the Rams. Right, He had no expectations, and they were actually decent. They were all right. They didn't have Cooper Kupp. They were all right. You take them down there to Tampa. Y'all might correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't really tapped into OTAs as much as I should have. Yep. But you got Chris Godwin, you got Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, the beast.
You just it ain't hard, man. Yeah. I mean, you've been doing this all your life. You know what I'm saying? So just make the simple play. I think he'll be a little bit better. So I think they won't be as bad as what we think they are. I think they'll be pretty decent. I think they'll be like 7-9, 8-9,
I think if
something like that.
Mike Evans has another 1,000-yard season this year, he's gonna average about 10 yards a catch.
Yeah.
He's gonna catch a lot of medicine balls.
Gotcha. So,
Pause.
yo, man, we had a great show, another great show. So all is after this, get ready to get geared up for the NBA draft tonight. I will be on board.
Yeah.
Coach, you doing a show?
Yeah, I'm doing a draft. I'm doing a whole draft. I'm doing the
I'll
first.
pop in there, Coach.
I'll pop in the chat.
That's a
I'll
bad.
pop in.
Right?
What time what time the draft is? What 7,
It's
8?
o'clock, my time, 7:00.
Oh,
Central.
okay,
Got you.
got you.
But other than that, Mo, tell the people they can follow you at, man.
Find me right here on the Empire Sports Empire Network.
All right, Des.
You guys find me on Sports Empire Network, my YouTube channel. Like I said, I'll definitely put a video after this show here about the draft and what the Nuggets may do. The Lakers, Mo and Freddie, y'all might get the boy from UConn that won the national championship, the guard, the lefty. I think that.
Oh, you talking about the shooter?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that kid.
And I want,
DMV
as a
area.
Nuggets fan, I want that Serbian center that won at 7 foot. But they said the Lakers might get him too. So we'll see.
Go ahead, Jay.
Man, y'all can find me here. Y'all can find me here as well as 613 Fate Productions on YouTube. Y'all can catch me on The Man Cave Sports Podcast with my homies G Money, Wildcard Mar, Mike T. Episodes drop on Saturdays. We got plenty of content all over. We got wrestling, got lifestyle podcasts as well, man. Come through, holler at us on the Facebook group Sports Chat. The Man Cave Sports Group on Facebook. I'm on all social media platforms. Jay Jones.
Yep.
Holla.
Got you. Y'all, no introduction for me. Y'all know where to find me at. Y'all gonna find me right here tonight doing the draft. So simple as that. So as for your morning show crew this morning, boy Coach Dante, Mo, boy Des, boy Jay Jones.
Jay, you did it again, man. You did that thing. Welcome.
Yep,
Appreciate it. I'm
Welcome, Jay.
glad to be here, fellas. Glad to be here. Thanks for taking me in, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good rest of y'all day. See y'all at 7:00 Central. Draft time. Thank you.
Yes, sir.